What's up, crew? Hope you're having a rad day. In this episode, we talk a bit of riding technique and get some redemption. I'm Alan, and this is the MTB Alan channel. I'm Alan, this is the MTB Alan channel, and if a goon like me can have a rad day on a bike, so can you. In today's episode, we are back in Aliso where the trails get steep and dusty. The last time we were in Aliso, Katie had a rockin' time, but not so much in a good way. As you know, when you've had a crash like that, it can get stuck in your head, and the only way to get unstuck is to get some redemption. And that is why we are back in Aliso. Aliso greeted us with warm temperatures, cool breezes, and partly cloudy skies. Another gorgeous day in Southern California. But it all masked the reality that Katie would eventually be facing the trail she crashed on. For the moment, we put that aside and headed across the ridge to do Rocket. Tony was stoked on a connector trail he had spotted, and he led us up to scout it out.
Yeah, it looks like a jump.
Like a black diamond, maybe a double black? Okay, it's a red, it's a pro line. Phew! After surviving that, we were ready for Rocket. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Good, Katie?
Yeah.
Okay, keep going?
Yeah. I might be a little bit medium speed. I'm trying out a couple of new techniques, so.
Extra medium?
Extra medium. As I talked about in the last episode, I've been using a more open stance on the bike. And while I used it some on Rocket, I really wanted to try it out on Lynx. It didn't feel great, and I was still dialing things in. But I did discover later that the fork had some air built up in it that needed bleeding. Yep! That being said, I tend to own things like that as problems with my technique. Yeah.
Super bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
Good. Like we tend to be like really in the tack position all the time, but trying to like open that up a little bit. Basically like giving the bike a little more body suspension.
Yeah.
you know?
It's, a couple years ago, I used to do that trail pretty fast, but I would do those drops and lean back. So I constantly trying to catch up with the bike. Right?
Yeah.
Feels better.
But I'm still like, still figuring out, and sometimes I'm like standing up when I shouldn't be. And my bike's like, blah, 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 blah.
At one point, I was just like locked in like this. And I was like, all right, just like
relax.
get all noodly.
Yeah.
So I like noodled up, and then I was just like chilling, like hunker.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, maybe
Maybe more like al dente.
yeah. Al dente.
So yeah, if you're gonna be a noodle, be al dente.
You. Yep. Yeah.
So now we're on the trail that took Katie out. Car wreck. To be fair, Katie had managed the gnarliest part of the trail, and her crash was partly a fluke. That being said, while reviewing her footage from the day of the crash, I noticed something. And before coming to Aliso, I told her about a habit that she needed to break. Or rather, not break. Or break in a different way? Tell you what, let's compare some before and after footy, and you tell me if you can notice the difference. Here's her writing a section before I gave her advice. And here's the same section afterwards. So hopefully you saw, or rather heard, the difference. Previously, Katie was dragging her brakes when it started to get steep, and then locking them up when it got really steep. Locked up brakes and skidding means you have much less control and are throwing the dice. I suggested that she brake more when it's flatter and less when it's steeper. Ideally, not braking at all during the steepest parts. This of course only applies to isolated steep sections. Long steep sections require a different technique. So, equipped with better braking technique, we headed into car wreck. By the way, if you're finding this useful or at least entertaining, like this video and hit subscribe. It helps out the channel. Yeah, Katie, how was that?
Good. My foot is all weird.
One more.
I'm the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Before heading into the gnarliest part and Katie's redemption, I gave Katie an extra few moments to reset. And with a nod that said, "You got this," we headed in.
I did it.
And just like that,
I didn't crash. Bring it.
Katie got her redemption.
Yeah.
Moments like this remind us of the redeeming spirit of mountain bike.
Oh, gross. I got a bug right in my mouth. Right in the throat.
What was I saying? Something about mountain biking is cool or something? Well, whatever it was, hope you dug it. Like this video, subscribe this channel, notify that bell, but most importantly, go have a rad day.